In the most underreported story of the week, Mike Lindell's three-day cyber web symposium on 2020 election fraud kicked off Tuesday morning. Have you heard much about it yet? Well, Lindell is hosting the event from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He says it'll feature 65 forensic cyber experts who are challenging the official results of the Biden-Trump presidential election. It'll include a recreation of the vote count in real time, he says, so that viewers can have a better understanding of what unfolded on November the 3rd and into the wee hours of November 4. He's offering $5 million to anyone who can show that the evidence he presents is not cyber data from the November 2020 election. Gee, I'd kind of like to get that myself. Maybe I should pay more attention. Well, let me say up front that I have no advance knowledge of the evidence that Mike Lindell plans to present at his event. I know Mike, and he's been a guest on my TBN show, but I promise to analyze his evidence as independently and objectively as possible and report the findings as honestly and spin-free as I can. I'd like to think that Lindell has the goods, but whether or not he can show that voting machines were or even could be hacked, there's plenty that still arouses suspicion about the hanky-panky on election night. And no, it has not been debunked. Now, that doesn't mean it's been proven, but it can't just be discarded either unless one's agenda depends on it being discarded. Some of Lindell's critics wish he'd concentrate on those other reasons to suspect cheating, such as problems with mail-in ballots, and view the voting machine issue as a distraction. I see their point, but I've got a question for them. If there are security problems with electronic voting, shouldn't we find that out before the next election? Anyway, Lindell has invited people from across the political spectrum. Some reports say thousands of invitees. He says he's invited cyber experts, politicians, and media. One we do know, Nancy Pelosi, but she said she had a scheduling conflict and won't attend. I guess those hair appointments are just hard to change. But I don't think anybody will miss her. Lindell is hoping that the effect will attract hundreds of millions of viewers and be the most watched live event in history. Now, that'll be a good trick with the almost total news and social media blackout on it. I believe people are going to tune in, Lindell said. I want them to watch, whether they're a Democrat or a Republican, liberal or conservative. This is America, and we need every person who needs to see this so they can say, what are we going to do about it? Of course, that is the big question. Lindell actually has claimed that he can show the election should have gone the other way. But what he's taken the most heat for is his prediction in March that former President Trump would be reinstalled as president by August. For one thing, it's already August, and for another, it just doesn't work that way. Predictably, left-wing news outlets such as Media Matters made fun of Lindell as a right-wing conspiracy theorist and criticized him as a threat to democracy itself. Some of the right are exasperated. Matt Margolis at PJ Media saying that he should go back to selling pillows, expressing admiration for his vocal support of Trump, but at the same time saying that he kind of jumped the shark when he said Trump would be president again by August. As you might know, Lindell pulled his My Pillow advertising from Fox News. That is after they wouldn't run his ad for the symposium. The ad doesn't make any claims about election fraud, only about the importance of this event. And it invites everyone to tune in and to tell everyone they know to do the same. So tune into as much of this symposium as you can and see what he's got. I promise you I'll give you a full report on the events. And by the way, for anyone skeptical that any nonsense occurred on November the 3rd, here's an example of problems on election night that have nothing to do with wider claims of foreign countries hacking the voting machines to make Biden president. When a ballot shows that more than one candidate in the same race has been marked, it's deemed an overvote, and then it's handed over to an election worker to review. Just the News, a website, has seen what was going on with some of these adjudicated ballots in Fulton County, Georgia, and Atlanta, and it's not pretty. Every election has ballots that have to be adjudicated. Remember the nightmare of the hanging Chads in Florida in the Bush-Gore race back in 2000? But in 2020, hundreds of thousands of people in Georgia were voting absentee for the first time, and that meant many more ballots were mismarked and, shall we say, open to interpretation. And in Fulton County, the rules apparently weren't clear and consistently applied, and they weren't even in writing, but they passed along those rules verbally. Well, Just the News got ballot images through an Open Records Act request. Fulton County officials would not respond to questions regarding what they found. More than 5,000 of the 148,000 absentee ballots processed through Fulton County, which is about 3%, required some form of human intervention. Mistakes in the adjudication process alone were not enough to have changed the outcome of the election, they say, but this is one more potentially contributing factor. I second what Just the News concludes, that, quote, reveal an imperfect system vulnerable to chaos, subjectivity, or political dirty tricks, especially in a county like Fulton, where state officials documented widespread irregularities and misconduct, and now want to take over election counting, end quote. This right here is why so many of us are still on the audit wagon. We'd like to be able to trust the election process in the future. So far, that doesn't seem to be important to Democrats in power, which is yet another big red flag. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video, and if you do, you'll mention that here on the screen. Be sure to comment if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing to the channel below and clicking the notification bell. That helps a lot in getting our videos viewed by more people. I'll be doing a live stream next week, so keep an eye out for that. And if you want more of my news analysis and commentary, sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. It's completely free and comes to your email inbox twice a day. Well, that's it for this edition of The Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.